And welcome to the PM Show, your weekly roundup on what the weather's doing in the UK this week.
Scorchio.
Scorchio, yes, absolutely. Yeah, so sweating already in here, so this won't be a long show. Anyway, trust you're all doing very well at home. Obviously, the UK weather is really hot at the moment, so it's probably putting a lot of people off from modelling, because the last thing you want to be doing is stuck with a respirator on and trying to spray and everything. I know for everyone who lives anywhere remotely warm, you're used to it, but we're not. That's the difference. We're not used to this at all. So, but yeah, 40 degrees. Go for it. That's it. My oranges and lemons will be growing a treat. Your olives will be doing fine. We're going into a new line of business. UK fruit.
Exotic fruits and olive oil.
Exotic fruits, yeah. You have olive oil, PM models olive oil, and you can get lemons and oranges from me.
Do you think we'll get far with 2 olive trees?
Yes, I think we might need a few more. I've only got 1 lemon tree.
And a fruit tree.
Although my plums this year have gone mental, because last year, like Basil Fawlty, I was like, if you don't give me any more than 6, I only had 6 out of it last year, you're for the chop. You know, I'm going to replace you with a pear tree or something. Anyway, this year it's gone absolutely mental. We've got tons of them. So it's like, it's done very well. I've been eating them over the last few days. They're very nice indeed. So I can't complain there. Anyway, from a modelling point of view, once again, we are slightly in the doldrums, although we have got lots of exciting stuff coming in about 10 minutes by the sounds of it. So we've got deliveries coming in.
There is some stuff coming in, but I wouldn't say it's overly exciting. It's just stock. We just want something new to happen.
That's it. Well, we have got a few of the pre-orders, so that'd be nice. We've got the Drakens coming in shortly and the Hurricanes and things like that from Hobby 2000. So that should be due in within the next few days as well.
Yeah.
So yes, all good.
Yeah, but I feel about doing summer recess.
Yeah, that's it.
See you back in the autumn.
Yeah, can we do like F1? Yeah, we'll come back when people release kits. We've got lots to talk
break,
about.
And then when something exciting happens, we'll be back on. Yeah, stuff's happening. It's just not happening quick, is it? So
no,
it's that time of year. So fair play in it. If the weather's nice, then you should really be stuck indoors. Should you want to be out enjoying it?
Like we said, though, it's just that time of year, isn't it? For the whole of the
industry.
Yeah. So there's not much coming out. There's not much being released. It's a bit dry at the moment, isn't it?
It
dry.
is.
That's the word. That's a good term, Andy. It is very dry.
Very dry.
We'll say, testify to that.
But again, it's one of those things is that, the weather normally it slows everyone down. They don't do much. And that's the difference to it. Obviously, this time of year as well, a lot of people are on holiday. So a lot of the manufacturers and things like that and sales department, you have people on holidays. Because somebody did ask me last week, they said about, why is it quiet this time of year? And I said, it just generally is in the UK. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, people have holidays. So obviously for releases and things like that, it's usually after holiday season. So we tend to get into sort of September, obviously October, into sort of, the later parts or first parts of Q4, and everything suddenly comes out. But this time of year, it's always a little bit quiet. Technically we're into the sort of show season, or used to be the show season, shall I say. So again, people are out and about doing lots of things, but it's just holiday season. That's the trouble.
Yeah.
And, as you say, it just slows it down a little bit when people aren't around at work to push things through. So, yeah. But generally, it just doesn't make for an interesting time for us, really, to get excited about stuff that's coming out, because we know stuff's coming down the line and it's often being spoke about and we get snippets of info and stuff, but nothing you can get your teeth into because it's a long way away. So,
yeah. And because we only get a couple of weeks a year of warm weather, no one has air conditioning. It's too hot to be stuck inside your room. So, no one bothers, do they?
No, that's the problem.
Often us idiots.
Yeah, but we sit here week after week sweating. But no, it is, as I say, various things are happening. It's just all very, very slow, as you said. We hopefully will have those Hurricane, which are the Hobby 2000 ones, coming in within the next week. Hasgau version of it, which is quite nice. We've got the 72nd Drakens, again, reboxed by, which are Hasgau ones, reboxed by Hobby 2000. So that'll be in within a week. So that's really nice as well. And there's other bits and pieces sort of filtering its way through. The only company that seems to be pushing things along at the moment, which is a miracle still, is ICM, isn't it? Because ICM is still bobbing along. Obviously, you've got the dual pack now for the Bronco coming down the line, isn't it? And they've got various things. I see they've got another truck coming along. I saw on the old Instagram the other day. And various bits and pieces. So of all the people you wouldn't expect, they're the ones that are keeping it going, thank God. So, but that's all very good.
That's it. Yeah, no, totally agree. Yeah, there's something to look forward to. I think like the Airfix Links is back out. I've seen today that's been re-released, hasn't it? Which is a good kit for it.
Which is the naval links, which we haven't seen for a while, have we? Because funny enough, we were talking about that a few months ago. Why aren't because both of them aren't available, and they're modern kits, nice kits. So obviously, was it the Mark 9? Is it? I can't remember which mark it is now. Version. It's the one on wheels.
I was going to say it's the one with wheels.
So that's due. Well, it's probably out right now anyway. So that's the other one. But yeah, apart from that, really, really quiet.
Have you seen the markings that are announced for the 124th Spitfire?
Has it got roundels?
Yes.
Is it grey and green?
Yeah, is it grey and green? Yes.
One of them is.
Oh, have they found some interesting markings?
They're not both British.
All right. So we've got an American version, and a French one.
One's a French one, and one's one with Normandy markings on it.
That's what Thingy did, isn't it? Tamiya with theirs. They did a French one, didn't they?
With the yellow tail and.
Can't remember what they did, but it looked quite. Actually, I've seen one built with the Tamiya one in the French scheme, and it does actually look quite tasty. It looks quite nice. It's something different, obviously, in the normal RAF one, but yeah. Yes,
very good.
Interesting, isn't it?
I'm saying it's French. It's got to be French, hasn't it?
Oh God, there we go.
It's definitely not RAF.
Yes, it's definitely somebody else's. But yeah, so obviously, hopefully that'll be along late summer, end of September, something like that. So those will be floating around for anybody who wants a jumbo-sized Spitfire. Got one. I
see a picture of Pranjit in a Buccaneer cockpit.
Oh right.
Holding a box.
Oh, has he got the box for it?
Yeah.
It's I think it was on their Instagram. To be honest, yeah. So
well, hopefully that won't be very far off as well. I think the next couple of months we should see the Buccaneer 48 scale, which will be long anticipated, shall we say? So looking forward to seeing that one.
Yeah, long overdue, isn't it?
Definitely.
I think there's probably stuff I can't even remember that's coming out. It's been that long since we discussed it. It's just like your mind goes blank, and then I forgot that was coming.
Yeah.
I know the Gecko ambulances do actually soon.
Yeah.
Because I know there's an order coming in in the next couple of months, I think. We've been told, and the Gecko sort of KT ambulances on that. So I am looking forward to that.
Will you be building that one? Because you're quite a fan of that one, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I'm going to tackle that as well. I've got a bit of an idea for that. So yes, definitely that's on the list. Because I just, I like the little Airfix one. But obviously the other 35th one was the accurate armour one in resin. Fancy tackling, and obviously Airfix are doing theirs and Gecko are doing theirs. But yeah, I'll tackle the Gecko one. It's got all the gear with it, and it stretchers and curtains and proper sheets and blankets and all sorts. So
it does look a good kit.
I think that'd be a really nice kit. And I've never built a Gecko kit, but I like the subjects that they do. I do like what the direction they're going in. I was just looking at our stuff upstairs, to be honest. And if I hadn't built the Wimmick, what I've just done in the Land Rover, I probably would have tackled the buggy Wimmick, the Para one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Obviously, just finishing something British. I might give it a break. But again, they're tackling interesting subjects to me, Gecko are. So long may it continue.
Yes. No, I'd say really nice stuff from there. I must admit, I might have actually got the Coyote coming.
What, accidentally?
Accidentally, got the Coyote coming. So I'll do a review of that as well. I'm going to send it up to you then.
On Amazon Prime Day?
Which I wouldn't like to say. But I'll send that up to you then. Because you quite fancied that one as well, wasn't it? The 6-wheel version. So,
yeah.
But
yes. The Jackal's quite a cool looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hold on. Definitely. I've got a delivery. I told you.
Look, we knew this was going to happen. Oh God, we've seen his legs now. I'll never edit that out. No amount of editing's going to get rid of that. But no, anyway, anything else happening, Andy, whilst he's dealing with the deliveries?
No, say we've got a few new pre-orders that we'll look at later. Nothing really new in stock. It's just been very slow. So, like, yeah, we've got orders coming in from suppliers, restocking stock, as what's probably just arrived.
Let's talk ceramic clear coats.
Oh, ceramic clear coats.
Yes. So we're still trying to get Which again,
there's no other instructions on it.
No.
So we're trying to figure out, because before the show we had a discussion of like what could be the uses for a ceramic coating. Because I presumed, as you would, you just whack it in a airbrush and use it as a clear lacquer.
Yes.
But I don't know now.
No.
So because actually watch this, could you put a video out, please, so we know what to do with it?
Yeah. When would you use this? Again, because obviously we were discussing about ceramic clear coats. Why would you use it in the hobby? Unless you're doing high gloss bikes, cars, things like that, you wouldn't necessarily use it on arm or an aircraft.
No.
That's the only thing I can think of. It's for vehicles.
But again, do you think then that's not going to look in scale? Because it's going to be really
pink.
tunable.
Yeah, it's going to be right in your face. It's going to look die-casty.
You know, yeah. I even think, to be honest with you, the 2K clear coats are overkill. I think they work all right on motorbikes, perhaps the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
Or if you're into 1/12 or bigger, 1/24 and 1/25 scale, I think it can be a bit overkill because it is really shiny. I think the single pack clear coats are perfect. They just give the right amount of shine for the scale effect.
Yes.
Did you know that there's actually a company called AK Ceramics that make cups?
Is there?
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, we do now.
Is that a sideline they're on? Interesting. But yeah, obviously this product is available to buy normally, but we haven't seen a video on it and we have never been told how to use it and what cases you would do with it. And it seems to be over the last few releases, we haven't had that traditional how to use the product videos. And that's not just from AK, it's from other companies as well. You're sort of given these products with no real how to use it, what it does. You know, obviously YouTubers have jumped on it and trying to show it, but you think you get one direct from the manufacturer?
Well, yeah,
just say on their website, the full body formula allows it to be applied. It's spread directly with a brush, self-leveling, achieving a humongous homogeneous, very resistant.
Is that non-binary?
Yeah. Basically, they do say it's designed for.
So we're taking it. This stuff perhaps it's extremely thin.
It's perfect for creating water effects on foam work or different techniques on more porous surfaces. So you could use it for. Oh, they've even got pictures of them using it on water.
Oh, right. So it can be used as a water effect as well, then, not just as a clear coat.
Yeah, to add the glossy to water. Yeah.
What about for canopies?
Yeah, can you dip your canopy in it?
Well, I'm thinking of brushing. If it's brushing and thingy, you could probably brush canopies, and I have to try it on an old. I know I could try a bit on actually.
Yeah.
You're at 16.
Techniques, more porous surfaces or different materials.
No, not that one. That's it. Not that clear coat. Interesting product, anyway, because they've always got that gauzy stuff, haven't they? And
yes.
The there we go, doing the live show, so I've got to have my traditional sneeze.
Yeah, so they do that stuff, which is, I say, I've used it. It's like really, really thin future, if you like, but it dries to crystal clear.
I'm going to actually clear coat the F16 in it because I actually like it for decaling over. I think it's quite a decent product.
Is that acrylic, is it? Or?
Yeah, it's acrylic. We've got the pot. This is the one for dipping, which is the Goozy Agent. Sort of, this is glass coat versus the intermediate, which again, I think this is a thinner version than this.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is like because I haven't used it forever, but it hasn't gone yellow. I'll give it its due. It's still white. It's a bit yellow on the lid, but so I'll tip it all over my paint. But I thought that might have yellowed and it hasn't.
Dip the voodoo in it.
Yeah, should I dip the voodoo? Have an extra shiny voodoo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the one for glass that they've done. This is the one for for the shine enhancer, which
Yeah,
we've used this. Matt's used this as well, haven't you?
I have actually, yeah, because we do stock it, and I thought better try it and stuff. And actually, I was really, really impressed with it. And I think that greeny one, you can actually, if you've got a flat brush, you can brush it on.
Yeah.
And obviously, airbrushes straight out of the jar anyway. But it does give a nice, because it does self-level. It is, to me, like I talked to somebody about it yesterday. It's the original Future that you used to get.
Yeah.
That Andy's got
20 bottles of.
And yeah,
my original I've actually chucked away because it turned to treacle, but I want some of the nice smelly stuff.
Not that one. Where's the original?
Oh, I've got that as well. Hold on.
That's what we want, the proper original Johnson's Clear.
Here we are.
Mine's
gone a bit thick. Could you see it?
That's how mine went, treacle, so I chucked it.
So you might notice it's a bit thick.
Oh, God.
It might have dried now. To be honest, this is the first time I've picked this up in ages. It's actually settled.
Mine wasn't quite that bad, but
it might be now. But I must admit, this has been sitting down there for ages, and I just picked it up, and it's like, okay, yeah.
I just had an idea with that. Just going back to that ceramic coating, how they say for water effects, right? And they say on the porous surfaces.
Yeah.
Like when you use the 2-part resins, they get a bit warm, shall we say?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
You need a sealer, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So normally, what do they put on? Is it PVA? Do they put a coat of PVA down or something else?
You can yeah.
Or that still water stuff, which is like the single coat resin, they're not the 2-part resin. I wonder if that would work. I don't know. It might thingy if it gets the heat on it. I don't know if it'd work or not. I'm just thinking, or if you're just doing little puddles and things. I know it shrinks, so you'd have to, or wet effects, as in, like a wet tarmac or whatever.
Yeah. Don't know. Pass.
Don't know. It's one of them.
Interesting ideas.
Isn't it?
Definitely. Oh, well, there we go. Now we've learned that does go off rock hard. So
that's about 20 years, yeah.
That's going to
get it on eBay.
Yeah, that's it. That's still worth about 20 quid. But or failing that, you get the new one, which is still just as clear and all the rest of it. So
is that nearly back to the original formula?
Yeah, they went back to basically the original. It's clear again.
I still like the coloured, the
lemon one.
The lemon one, yeah.
Yeah,
I never got on well with the milky one. I never liked the milky one. It's thinner. It's too thin.
Just made your rim smell nice.
Oh, did it? Well, you spray it as an air freshener. Get rid of that lacquer smell.
Yeah.
Hoof that up.
Yeah. I might do our floors in it and see the dog goes.
Yes, that's what ours do.
I'd say it was brilliant. Just going off topic, but the dog came in our conservatory and we've got like over a thingy floor, and it's like one of them cartoons, where they can't get a grip. They're doing that, but going nowhere as they turn in a corner. Yeah. Honestly, I wish I could have filmed it because it's very.
My tune's like Tokyo Drift, because you got like the hallway goes into the kitchen. It's all the same floor, and they come running in, and they go to come into the kitchen. It's like a 90-degree, and just go flying into the table.
Yeah, they're odd. But yeah.
Never mind. But
anyway, back to the hobby.
So clear coats, as I say, there's lots of options out there. Matt will have a go and experiment with his new one and see what it's like, and come back to us with all the information.
I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah. Hopefully they will do a video on it. I think they will. Normally they do, but it'd be nice, because we had this thing with Edard and their decals, didn't we? Of like they just put them in and let nobody know, and then people were. Well, it got a bad rap, didn't it? Let's just say it didn't go down very well. That they changed the decals, not really told anybody, and didn't say how to use them. I reckon they're like their new decals now. I don't know if they've changed them again, because from what I've read and sort of and seen, they're a lot easier to use and to peel the top off and all that than the problems you had before.
Yeah.
So perhaps in the future it might be worth you tackling another Edard kit just to see if there's an improvement for when, because it was your Hellcat, weren't it? But
again, a lot of that was I wasn't aware they'd changed.
Yeah.
Because I did that Hellcat when it first came out. No one mentioned it had new decals, and it was fine. And they went. I've got no problem with the decals; they went down lovely. But when I came to do my usual weathering with a little bit of oils and a little bit of thinners, they just fell apart. And suddenly you're like, hold on, why are they just dissolving, you know,
Yeah.
and then it's the top coat is actually peeling off and then ripping the hell out of it. So again, a lot of it was just no one said anything, which is, I think the annoying thing from me is the way Edard said they hadn't changed anything, and clearly they have, because everybody was like having the problem, and they were like, well, we haven't changed it, you just use it as a normal decal. Well, you know, no, you don't, because it's not working like any other decal, you know. And then once you know it, it's a case of, right, because I know Nathan used them as well, didn't he? And he said they weren't that bad. He managed to get it go. But again, they do advise not to remove that top one. But if you're using your normal oils and washes on the top, it's very difficult not to, you know, end up peeling it.
If you'd known and put a barrier coat on.
Yeah, that's it. That's the usual thing. If you'd sealed them in. But the bit where mine...
The thing is, though, if you remove that top film, so you've got a carrier film, and then give it a clear coat, then that's going to seal it in, then you weather over the top of that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then you haven't got the problem of silvering.
No,
I think it's more for obviously the bigger decals. Obviously, if you go into stencils and stuff, it's going to be a bit fiddly, I suppose, trying to get the carrier film off the top. But who else did it originally? Who was the original one? Was it HGW?
I think so, yeah. They used to do the one where you removed it. It's a bit like with their thingy sets, wasn't it? They did like riveting, and you put it down and then you'd peel it off afterwards, which again was perfect. But a lot of the trouble, I tried it and it didn't work, because you ended up, they wouldn't stick, or some did, some didn't. And you're into that thing about, well, I know they give you lots of spares, but having to go around and basically redo it, you know? And that's what I must admit, when I scraped them all off and started again and re-riveted it by hand. Because again, it was just one of those, didn't work well. But you might remember they did the control surface ones, which were like decals, if you like, which stuck on. They worked beautifully, don't get me wrong. They were absolutely fantastic. So I did them on the 190. We did all the control surfaces on those, and that worked. The riveting, not so. And again, speaking to other people, it's really hit and miss. You might have a good day doing it, you might have a terrible day, but there's no right or reason. And I think
is a certain surface they work better on, as in a flat surface or a satin?
I think they work better on a gloss one, because obviously it works like a decal. So if you've got good grip and a good surface, I think if you're doing it, that's the trouble. If you haven't got a perfect surface, it doesn't adhere as well. That's why in some areas it does work and other areas it doesn't. That's the only thing I could think of. But again, it was one of those. The idea is there, but at least they told you how to do it. And they said, this is how it's done. It goes down, you peel it off. So you knew it was probably a lot of user error, you know, and to me it was too much of a faff. I'd rather just re-rivet it than do that. But again, when it does work, it works beautifully. My gripe, obviously, with the Edard one is that they maintained it was just a normal decal and there was no difference. But when you looked at them on, they looked like it had a film over it. It looked like there was a carrier film on top of them. So you wanted to get that off anyway. And again, certain circumstances when I did it, it came off beautifully, no problem at all. Other times you ended up, it wasn't sticking, and obviously it tears the decal underneath and you're into that thing with it. But again, if you're going to bury them under a good gloss coat or something, like I had to do when I did the little Jag, we put that gloss coat right over it and you can bury the decal in, no problem at all. You don't really worry about the carrier. But again, if you want to make it a little bit sharper, shall we say, and you don't want to put it down, getting them off easily isn't right. They might have cured the problem now, but my only issue was they did sort of stick their head in the sand with it, because, you know, I know we wrote to them and everything else, and it was like, there is no difference. It's our normal decal. Well, it ain't. You know, I'm
it's
not
the only one. It's not made by Potograph like they used to be.
No, that's it. Yeah. So, you know, that was the thing. It was a case of, it was almost like they were like just sticking their head in the sand, pretending it would go away. And it was like, well, no, it has. And again, they've sort of gone back in some areas and they've got a newer system, shall we say, for the others. So, you know, again, it would be nice to go back and give them a whirl again. But I know for a fact, it just caught me out. I just wasn't expecting it. You put them down, nothing was mentioned. This is before anything came out about them. And then obviously mine got destroyed in the process. So we ended up having to completely redecal it with aftermarket. But you know, which went down beautifully. So, but, yes, never mind. Anyway, over on the site, we've still got our sale going on. As we can see, if I just go full screen, bargain Tomcat, just say, absolutely fantastic. You know, say 100 quid for a Tamiya one, or you can have one for 48 quid. It's got a lot more in it, just saying.
So them, there aren't many left.
No, so if you want to grab yourself a bargain, seriously,
by the way,
stash.
I would grab it. Hold on, I would grab it at that price because that price is going up when they come back in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
just saying on that.
Just saying.
And these will be changing again Friday morning, so.
Yeah. So if you want to grab anything, literally do it right now. We've got some good bits and pieces going down here. Some old classics like the old Sawfidge as well, which is a really nice kit. And again,
new piece.
It is. Some very nice cars and bikes, various things as well, still going down in there. And then obviously down the bottom here, we've got our sort of slightly damaged box section. So they might just have a dint in a corner. The kits are absolutely fine and the boxes aren't totally mullered or anything else like that. So we've got those down in there just like that. So if you want to grab any of those usual things, as Andy says, they're going to change on Friday. So make sure you get in there as quick as possible. The new arrivals, pretty much as was last week, I'm afraid, because we haven't had much in. But we've got the Salamander. If you want to go down that route, something for your dioramas, things like that, you've got one of those. And again, all the other ones, as you can see, just down in here. So if you want to grab any of those, grab them as they're new in. And some restocks, like we were talking about on yesterday's show. We've got the Razor Crest down in there and things like that. So if you want to grab one of those, grab him. Kong, perhaps you want a Skull Island Kong. He's the last one out of those 4 that we've got in. So if you fancy something a bit special.
He's the only one we've got in. The others haven't arrived yet.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough.
They're still somewhere waiting to come in.
Oh, okay. They're stuck.
Hopefully they'll be soon because they've been up there ages. I thought they'd been by now, but obviously not yet. So
okay,
yes.
Fair enough. So they're stuck on Skull Island, clearly.
They're stuck somewhere, yeah. In a parallel universe.
Definitely. So we've got all of those bits and pieces if you want to grab anything from down in there. Obviously, we've got a 25% sale still ongoing. So this is brand new kits, 25% off. This is our end of stock line series. So various things. And we've got some other bits in there. Like we're saying, we've got the Starship, not Slave One, Starship down in there as well. And various other ones going cheap, very, very cheap. So if you want to grab yourself anything from these, you can do as always. Again, this will be coming to an end shortly. So grab it whilst you can.
Again, that dragon, is it JUH8? Keep going up, Phil. Bit more. Yeah, sorry, the BF109. Sorry, BF110. Sorry, that's a cracking kit for the price.
There's a lot of plastic that is. You get
it is a lot of plastic in there, and you get the engine, of course.
Yeah, you do. So, yeah, it's a lot more detailed than the Edard one.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely. So if you want to grab yourself one of those, obviously that is. What's the bulge underneath? Is that a cannon pod or something?
It's a boat, isn't it?
It's a boat.
Oh, is it a fuel tank? No, it's a fuel tank.
Yeah, fuel tank.
Oh right. Okay.
It's a fuel tank. That was it. No boat. It's a fuel tank.
No, the boat
looks like a boat, but it's a fuel tank. Yeah, it's an inflatable, deflatable fuel tank, isn't it?
Oh right, that's a cool idea then. Very good.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it's a giant cannon they'd underslung it like tended to do in those days. So yes, very good. Now the boat ones was funny enough. It was my great grandfather. He was killed during the war flying a rescue Warwick with a boat stuck under the bottom of it, which clearly make it unflyable on one engine, as he found out. So yes,
you'd have thought that would have been sorted, wouldn't you? Really?
Well, yeah. Apparently, they made it longer, bigger wingspan to hang a boat underneath it, but on one engine it can't fly. So that was the trouble with that. Bit of a design fault. But anyway, as you say, lots of bits and pieces down in here. Grab them whilst you can. It's not going to go on forever, this one. So as you can see, ending soon with our very nice scrolling.
Yeah, scroll. We have added some new bits as well, if you had seen it. So obviously the Tamiya stuff at the top, the Space Shuttle, the Matra and the Porsche, which I don't think you can get the Porsche anymore.
Yeah.
I think the Martini one's gone because that was the one everybody wanted.
Yes.
Originally. Yeah. So, grab them because, again, I don't know when you'll see them again.
Mm-hmm.
They're big beasts, aren't they?
They are huge kits.
Yeah,
they are.
That's where you bought your 2-pack ceramic coating.
Probably, you get away with it on there. Yeah, definitely. Nice. Okay, so over to the pre-order section. As I say, we've got some other bits and pieces down in here. So we've got the Mustang, which has just gone up. This is for the F6C Mustang, not
that's
T51.
French,
that's French, yeah.
I was going to say that's French. So again, a couple of nice marking options down in there. So that's my famous French accent, that is.
They say hello.
Right, okay, so that's actually a really nice one. So obviously that's a what year is that then? Do we thinking that's a sort of 50s? Because it's the F6.
Well, yeah, I suppose 50s they used them in Korea, didn't they?
Yeah, because they
Maybe
Well, that'll be
so
Indochina, won't it, for the French?
yeah, it might have been, yeah. Don't know, but obviously it's destination as an F, so they changed them, wasn't it, from P to Fs at some point. I can't remember exactly when that was, so it's a later one, definitely.
I don't know. I thought that version had been well retired by then.
yeah, that's their old stock that they got dumped on, and
What, give them to the French?
yeah,
We've got all these left over. Yeah, anyway, really nice kit right the way through. So if you fancy something a little bit different with different markings, but obviously there is a US version and there's one with a nice shark's mouth. And no doubt, looking on the back of the box, there'll be fantastic schemes as well. So some very nice stuff down in there as well. So very, very nice indeed. And obviously this is the expert one. So that comes with a mask set, yeah? Yeah.
mass set, yeah, and
photo etch as well.
photo etch, and
Very
yeah,
nice.
some 10x18 decals.
Very, very nice indeed. So that one is up on a pre-order now if you want to, just £20.69. Very nice. What else we got then? This is for the Hurricane, which is beautiful box art like this. Very nice. So again, I know we joke about it's another Reeboks, but it's still a great one. Some very nice options down in this one as well. So this is is this a dual kit?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you get two kits in here. So obviously you can do two versions. So you get two sets of photo etch, two sets of markings, plastic, and all the bits and pieces you can see down in here. And you get very nice aftermarket. Are these resin or?
They're 3D printed ones.
3D printed. That's what I'm looking at the feet. So yeah, 3D printed bombs.
Yeah, bombs. I think you get guns, exhausts, and cannons, other bits and bobs. Yeah, to go under.
Some nice options as well.
Yeah.
You're back to the top. So you've got a dual combo of a Hurricane Mark II A, B, and C.
Yeah, so you could do any version in theory then. Yeah, very nice. And so yes, very nice job there as well. Nice options right the way through. I must admit, some good options down in there as well. You've got the sort of the black version as well. So one of the standard other ones.
It's weird, 'cause neither of the two on the box art have got cannons on, have they?
This is true. That's a good point.
Well spotted.
Oh, yeah, he has at the back. Yeah, he has.
Right.
Yeah, he has. He's a C. He's a Mark II C. So this would be a Mark II B because it's got bombs. Didn't we work this out the other day? C, cannons. B, bombs. A, not open L.
A, armament.
Armament, yes. So, but anyway, really nice one there. And again, beautiful box art, I have to say. It's sad when you get more excited about the box art, you do the kit, isn't it? But that's a really nice box art
That's
as well.
a really nice kit. Can't say that about that Hurricane.
I built it. I have. I've done a little video build on that. It's probably one of the, well, it's not. It is the nicest 72nd scale kit I think I've ever built. It's a beautiful kit. It goes together fantastic. And the detail on it is as good as you'll find on anything in 32nd or 48th. It is fantastic. So very, very nice indeed.
Yeah.
Goes to Kiev, obviously. This is the Great Wall Hobbies one. It's been obviously quite popular as well. So obviously this is their kit of the MiG-29, which is a 913 version with the Decal options and all the rest of it. As I say, it ain't cheap, but to be honest with you, nothing at the moment is that's coming in that's brand new from that part of the world. Prices have jumped up. So as we were saying at the moment, if you fancy a kit at the moment and you're thinking, it might be worth getting them now because the prices are going to go through the roof.
And it's got to be the best MiG-29.
Yes, easily. Yeah, by a country mile.
One, so.
Yeah, nice kit, that one. As I say, it's just the prices at the moment are screaming up. Another really popular one at the moment, so we've got lots of pre-orders on this one, is the 432. As you can see here, I've built this one again. Fantastic kit. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I did mine in the Berlin scheme as well. But if you want to grab yourself one of those, just up to 45 quid.
This one's been running for a while, so it might be closing soonish.
Yeah, me and Andy's going to go through these actually tomorrow because there's some that need closing and obviously putting the orders in. I'll tell you what might be worth a quick look at.
Yeah.
Is the B25, the Edard one.
The Gun Buddy one.
Yeah. So that's doing in August.
Yes.
And now a certain other site have actually corrected their price.
Okay. As we thought they might.
So our price was right to begin with.
Yes.
So be aware, if you've gone somewhere else and thinking it's cheaper, it's not.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
Just check. But yeah, so worth getting that kit. Sazagal kit's good kit. Really
nice
good kit.
Very, very nice. And again, some nice options with this one right the way through. Again, if you don't want to do the Bugs Bunny or Guns Bunny, you'll be fine. So
Yep.
very nice kit, very, very nice indeed. But again, with all the pre-orders, usual thing, people put your name down for them. And if you've got to pull out at any point, please let us know, and we'll take you off the listing before the order actually goes in. So no problem with that. But you say we've got lots of different stuff. We're waiting for a lot of this stuff to come in. And say we've got some bits coming in this week with any luck, or next week, early next week.
Hopefully hopefully Friday they'll be here. Should be doing today, so we're on Wednesday, so we might even get them tomorrow. To be honest, if they're packed and shipped out today, depends what time obviously they arrive at said place, but hopefully by end of the week. So yeah, they'll be invoiced, so be prepared.
Very good. Wait for Andy to send your invoices through. Right, okay, so over to questions. First one is up from Glenn, and he says, if I put us back on, I've lost my little thing there. Where are we? There we go. And he says, hi, hope we're all well. He's got a couple of Abteilung 502 oils, smoke Starship filth, and he likes using them as a wash and for streaking. Are there any other colours that you would add for general use for light weathering, blending, muting of camo schemes? Would you recommend any of the sets? And the various things. Well, as you say, the sets, if I just bring them up, we can go back over here. We go to AK sets. As I say, your big ones are the ones that obviously your aircraft weathering one, if that's what you're thinking, because down in here, you do get obviously probably the colours you're going to need. So you've got a yellow for fading into your greens. You've got obviously your blues for working as well. You've got like this is, I think they call that the neutral grey. I find it's just a little bit too, I don't know, it's not a nice grey to work with if you want to weather grey, put it like that. You need a slightly lighter one, which is what I've been using recently, which is their light grey as an individual. I don't think that's available in a set, but you do get obviously the greens, the blues. This orangey one in here is a great colour as well, because that's the one I use for streaking. If you look at any of my videos, because it's very, when you first put it down, it's orangey, but the more you work it, it turns to yellow. So you can just stop at any point and go through. And the other important one, which you've got anyway, that one's got the smoke in it, if I remember rightly. So, because obviously that's one of the sets I had. In fact, there's a thing down in here. Can we? Yeah, you get the smoke. 005, yellow, number 10, 20, which is faded dark yellow. I can't read the others. Faded. What's that?
Faded cream and
faded navy blue is one of them.
Oh, navy blue. That's it. Faded navy blue, faded green as well. So again, definitely one to go with like that, because that sort of does any aircraft set down in there. If you would have seen my thing on the doing the weathering on the Jaguar, that's a classic example. I just use that set down in there. But again, you've got all the other ones down in these ones, as you can see.
Just going on the thingy, that base colour, I know it's got a tank on it, but if you go on the base colour one,
browns and yellows and things in it.
That's got quite good colours in for obviously doing filters and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so there you go. You've got a white, a yellow, a black. Is that intense blue, magenta, and is that Payne's grey?
Payne's grey, yeah.
Payne's grey, yeah.
I like Payne's grey. It's that bluey grey colour.
It's the blue grey, yeah. Yeah.
Especially on bare metal, actually. I think it works really well on bare metal colours.
Yes. Yeah.
Another must for me is sepia.
Yes.
I love that colour. It's my now go-to colour for a lot of stuff.
Do you get sepia in the vehicle weathering set?
I think you're probably doing raw umber, probably, and mud. I think there's some mud in there. Again, we're going to have a restock next week. We've just put an order in and it'll be here for next week. More AK. You see, you want your rusty reds and stuff. They're there. Mm-hmm. I would say if you're going for the AK range, look at I think black is the last one on the top of the rack. So from white, which I think is the first colour, to black.
That's your sepia. So I just found sepia as a standalone. So there we go.
Yeah. They're the main colours you're probably going to use, because they have got like the faded yellow, the yellow, greens, greys, the red primer. I think it's, and then I think from light mud down is the second rack. There's a few good colours.
Light grey's good there as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the one that I've just got, is the light grey. Again, we were discussing this before we came on, wasn't it? And I think the big thing is, wrong one. Button. The big thing is they last forever, because they were saying, you think of the amount of smoke I go through, which is actually quite similar to sepia, And I use it on everything I do and a lot of it. And I've probably still got a third of a tube left after 5 years. So, that's the thing. I don't know if my cable's going to reach.
Definitely get your money's worth.
You definitely get your money's worth, yeah.
Another good colour is actually the engine grease as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good for staining and things like that, but to go well with the faded yellow.
But, these are my sort of go-tos that I do a lot, this is the light grey, which I just found was a little bit better. So that's 170 light grey. I used it on the Jag for the first time, and it gave me going over, what was it? I can't remember which grey it is on now, those ones. Ocean grey or whatever it is. And it just worked absolutely fantastic. It really lightened it to what I wanted to do. It gives it that aged effect. The smoke, I'm down to that. So, but I've been using it forever. But yeah, this is that faded dark yellow. This is what I use for all streaking effects underneath modern and old aircraft, because again, you put it on and when you first do it, it's bright orange, but if you work it turns to yellow, and you can just stop at any point when you get that color you like. But also, if you want to put different colors, you just work different areas more, and it's really strange, but it just gives it that natural leaky look, that sort of hydraulic or sort of just liquids coming out of stuff type look. So that's pretty good. But,
and of course, the crowd's favourite, Starship Filth.
Yes, Starship Filth.
Which is down the bottom.
Which is like a greeny, eerie colour.
Greeny, like browny, blacky.
Bogey colour. Depending where you've been, clearly. Starship Filth, there it is.
If I'm like that, you need to go see the doctor.
Yeah, it's a sort of weird.
It is. It's like a blacky, greeny, funny colour. But it just works. I call it a neutral colour, because you could use it on anything. You use it on armour, you use it on aircraft, use it on spaceships as well. It's actually quite a nice one to do. So I tend to use that in conjunction with smoke, and you can get some nice effects off of it as well. But again, the great thing with oils, one, like Matt said before we came on, the trouble that you have is you put a little blob on a bit of cardboard and it's the size of a pea, and you still throw 90% of it in the bin when you're done, because it just goes on forever. You buy a set like that, which is only 25 quid, which in this day and age, cheap, and it just lasts you forever. I say I've got a drawer full of oils, and they're all just working their way through. You buy once and you're done. So if you wanted to pick up a couple of sets, you just be good and set then. So yes, good job. Right, where were we? Back to questions. So yes, I think that covers that one well. Again, it's just if you want to buy a set, or if not, you can get them as individuals as well. Gareth's got 2 questions. Firstly, I can't seem to get the new 3-gin paints to spray properly. I normally use a 0.3 needle with Tamiya XF range with no problems, but with the new 3-gin paints by AK, I either get coughing and spluttering no matter what the air pressure, or if I thin it more, it just seems so thin that it won't lay smoothly and just gathers at the edges. I've tried mixing it with Mr. Hobby lacquer thinners and Tamiya X20A with the same results. Could you point me in the right direction as to know, is it me and not the paint?
Well, I've painted it and I've had quite success with it. So
I've had very success with it. I've only played not in anger, but I did this little guy with it, just messing around, just because I've got an armoured colour set. And I'll be honest with you, when I first used it, I'm so used to spraying lacquers, let's face it, and lacquers are just the easiest thing. You just put thinners in them and they work. So obviously when I first tried it, I originally went in, I think, with Vallejo airbrush thinners, and I had what you were discussing. So it coughed, it spitted, I
don't like that.
Didn't like it whatsoever. So then I tried a couple of other things, and eventually mine came along, but totally by accident, is that I went to clean out the airbrush with a little bit of lacquer thinners, and as I was blowing it out, I thought, oh, this is quite coming out nicely. And then I did it on here, and it painted beautifully. And then I got out all the other colours and went round and started spraying with it as well. And it just went down fantastic. I couldn't fault it. So that's with lacquer thinners. Again, I think what I will say is, though, have you, and I know everyone says, yes, I have, but I'm as guilty as anyone else with this, have you thoroughly mixed it? outside of the colour cup. Don't put it in the colour cup and do it. So I'll tell you why. Gen 3s are really thick and heavy paint. If you put your thinners in your colour cup first and then you put the paint in, it will sink. It will push out the actual thinners out the way, and it will track down your needle to the nozzle and stop. You mix it in your colour cup, you've got that much of it to try and get through, and that can block up your needle. It can cause stopping, starting, coughing, and all the rest of it, as you said. So I would highly recommend thoroughly mixing it in outside the colour cup, then decant it in there. And the only thing as well that I did find with it, and I know, Matt, you had it as well, you do have to mix it as you're spraying as well. Every now and again, just agitate it, because it does separate. Again, I think it's testimony to the paint being quite a heavy pigment, so it's thick. So it will separate out of the thinners quite quickly. So you do have to mix it up. And again, this is one of those where I think primary, they're a hand painting paint, and secondary use is an airbrushing. So it's not formulated, shall we say, like real colour, which is probably the other way round. And I think that's the trouble. So I know a lot of people have said that they've had trouble with it, and then it seems to be a good thorough mixing, right ratios, and away you go. And again, ratio just depends on needle size, setup, and how you're to style of spraying. So, but I can testify I had the same trouble, and then it sort of clicked. So,
well, I was putting it through with the own finish because I painted the Wimic in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can look at the Wimic that I did, and I painted that exclusively or airbrushed with the Gen 3s. Mm-hmm. Again, like I say, mixed out the cup. I did use their own thinners as well.
Yeah.
It's very similar to X20A. So
yeah, I was about to say, if you're having problems, go back to basics and try their own thinners and see if you're still having problems with it. We're out of stock of it at the moment, but we've got it. It's winging its way to us as we speak.
Yes. Yeah, we got an order in at the moment for a restock on that. I know, obviously some people have said to me about it as well, and they've had troubles with it. I've had other people who had great successes with it. And again, sometimes if you're used to spraying a particular paint, you need to learn the paint. And understand it and try different techniques with it. So, I know some people, do a lot of shortcuts like me, and they'll just add a bit more thinners in the colour cup just to thin it a little bit more. It's not like a lacquer. A lacquer eats and absorbs itself. So see it like a cement mixer inside your colour cup. It's always doing it. Acrylics don't. They just sort of sit there and you agitate them together. So again, it's a little bit different on how they actually work. But again, I struggled like hell, and then I did that with lacquer thinners and thoroughly enjoyed it. It sprayed beautifully. No stop, no start. And again, a lot of people have said to me about, you can't spray them with a thin nozzle because it's a heavier pigment. You need to use a 0.4 needle minimum. I did that with a 0.2 and had no problem whatsoever with it, and it sprayed like a beauty. And then again, I set it up next time, remixed it, put it in, sprayed it, no problems at all. So again, but that's with lacquer thinners, I have to say, on that one. I think that was rapid drying thinners I used probably, because I tend to use that all the time, and it was great. So yeah, play with it, understand it a little bit more, and then go from it from there, I would.
Yes.
Secondly, where do you go for paint conversion charts? I use Hobby Color Converter on my phone.
I use exactly the same, to be honest with you.
I don't use one, so I wouldn't have a clue.
IPMS
Stockholm.
I don't know how long since that's been updated, to be honest with you.
I don't know.
That's what I always used to use. Yeah, I used to always use it. Nowadays, I tend to say, I don't even take any notice of what the company says, because obviously they're just flogging their own stuff. So, that if you're doing, obviously something like Gunship Grey, for instance, it's 36118. So I'll go to my paint and look for that, rather than just trying to convert across to whatever somebody says it is. And like, REF, dark green, you got your things from that. You just go to it in there. If you don't know what colours they are, then obviously, you can go to like IPMS Stockholm and you put in what it is, and it will tell you what colours you need for it, and do it that way. But, yes.
I know John said that the Gen 3s are almost a perfect colour match for the AK Real colours.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to match a particular paint with something else, if you have a look at the AK Real colour, cross match.
And now the recycling people have turned up.
Let's say.
You might actually then find, I think it is actually, you might actually be able to then do it from the AK Real colour to the AK 3rd Gen to get the colour you want.
But again, don't forget, as we were saying, third gens at the moment, they're a new brand. They haven't got a ton of aircraft colours if you're thinking down that line. It tends to be, as I say, a lot of sort of figure type ones and obviously camouflage ones and World War One, World War Two, and obviously we're hoping in the near future they'll be releasing the full range to keep up with things like real colour, I would have thought. So yes. Okay, Paul says, hi everyone, I'm currently building the F-35B Lightning II, and I've come across an issue regarding to paint. I was looking, excuse Andy, he's got a bit of wind. I was looking to brush paint part of the fuselage near the engine exhaust prior to joining the fuselage halves together. I'm using AK's RC245 Have Glass Grey, purchased from PM Model Store, but once brushed it, a burnt iron, dark iron appearance to the model once brushed on the photo below. Again, this is one of those areas where sometimes brush painting doesn't give you the same colour as if it's airbrushed. When you're airbrushing stuff, it tends to go down lighter because it's a thinner coat. When you're putting down a thick coat of it, and that may be what it is. So, noisy traffic. And so, yeah, that could be part of your problems from it. Also, if you're trying to do the F-35's grey colour, I don't know if they use Have Glass, because there's lots of different colours of Have Glass. There's Have Glass 5, for instance, or Have Glass V. As well, and things like that. So I'm not sure if that's the right one. And each manufacturer got a Grand Prix circuit out the front.
Just moving my mic down so it's not. This is shielded by the monitor. We're on.
But yeah, so this is it. Never know, it's so busy around your place. But yeah, so don't forget as well, if you take Have Glass and look at it from MRP's point of view, Hataka's point of view, Real Colour's point of view, and everybody else, they will all be slightly different colours. So you sort of pick the one that works best for you. And to be honest, I quite like using the Have Glass colour from MRP. I think that's one of the closest ones. And I did my F-35 in that, but I didn't put the top coat on. It's like a 2-pack system. You put one coat down, then it puts this sheen coat over the top. No, I don't like the sheen coat because they're not like that anyway. So again, it's finding what works for you. And also, if you have a look at my F-16, the big 32nd one, I did in Have Glass 5. That's a different colour to other people's as well. So, again, it's one of those, you take your pick sometimes. It's one of those very strange colours because they all weather as well. Have Glass weathers incredibly quickly because it's like a matte effect. So
it's a weird colour, isn't it? I think it's just a weird colour. I think not ever having used it, I can't say, but I would have thought it was a very odd colour to try and brush paint.
Yeah.
So again, it's odd to answer because my thing is the AK Real Colour to me are designed to be airbrushed and not brushed.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously why we've got the crossover with the AK Gen 3s, which are brushable,
yes,
or formulated to be brushable more than the obviously the Real Colours are. So,
but like Phil said, I can imagine a thin coat airbrushed would be a lot different colour.
Yeah.
To a hand painted coat. Yeah.
So again, this one here is using the MRP colour without the top sheen onto it, which I did ages ago. It's the little Hasegawa one, and to me, it's about the right colour. But again, I wouldn't say it's 100%. Because, how old's the aircraft, how weathered it is, they all sort of change rapidly, let alone obviously the stripes all over. They don't have that anymore. So, yeah, it is. It's one of those really difficult ones to sort of get right and nail down. You could play with it. You could lighten that up. Don't forget, you could add a little bit of light grey into it, things like that to try and lighten it, or a bit of buff as well, and make up a custom mix. And again, I think in some ways that's something that's been lost with the hobby, don't you think? Do you remember years ago people would use a colour and you think it doesn't look quite right, so you add a bit of grey in there, a bit of white. You never hear of that anymore. Nobody actually custom does their own paint anymore. Everyone's more a case of, I want to use that bottle straight from it. But
I don't know. I like tinted and playing with colours.
Yeah, that's it. I always do. So
I think you get a unique sort of model then because you've kind of custom made a paint.
yeah,
I do think obviously we've discovered about the hang-ups of having the correct shade of whatever. You know, and you've got to think different manufacturers have different interpretations of, you know, you look at, you know, 5 different manufacturers olive drab, for instance, which is one of them colours, and you're going to get 5 different shades of olive drab, or so on and so. Like you said, we've have glass. Again, everybody's have glass is going to be different.
yes,
Depending on which have glass they've worked from, or what their interpretation is, or yeah, I don't know. It's
and again with
too much of a
weathering,
minefield.
yeah, it is a real minefield because again, you can be in that situation where you sort of, you know, you get too deep into the colour, as we said before, which happens all too often. That you know, you do go down that rabbit warren of, like, you know, with the actual colours of it, of how you want it to be. And again,
it does make you wonder how much money they spent on the F-35. Sorry, makes you wonder how much money they spent on the F-35, and they couldn't match the RAM tape.
Funny enough, not that I'm allowed to discuss this openly, so I won't go too far, but I had a really good conversation on a guy who makes that stuff, the company that makes that stuff. Because actually, funny enough, one of our followers works for the said company, and he was explaining that to me, and they're the manufacturer of that colour tape that is used for it, and that's why, like, now they don't, because it's been colour matched to it. So yeah, and there's slight changes to it all now and all the rest of it, but it was an interesting conversation about that. So needless to say, it wasn't their fault. Let's say it could have been a government procurement cock up. But again, you can see on the F-16 here, this looks a lot lighter. This is Havglass 5. It's a slightly lighter sheen of it, but the whole point was I went with this one to give it a more sort of weathered, faded look. So if you look at them when they're brand new, they're really dark. It's almost like gunship grey, but very quickly they will lighten up until you get to sort of that type of effect with it as well. So yeah, it is. It's one of those areas which it can be certainly a bit of a nightmare with it. I've got any big pictures, unfortunately. I don't know why they're showing small, but yeah. So tricky. That's what I would say.
Is it? I just, my question would be: is there a reason? Are you a brush painter, and that's why you're brush painting it, or have you just done it because it's near the engine, or what? Because obviously that might answer a few questions to us, but. My thing is my advice would be is really the real colours aren't really formulated for brush painting, and if you are going to brush paint, you need to have really thin paint and build it up in layers.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Upon layer, let the first layer dry and then do the next layer and blah blah blah. It's not like a one and done, I wouldn't think, for brush painting, but yeah.
No. And again, like I'm showing in those pictures there, is that how the paint colour will change with a wash on it. So it acts like a filter. So when you're popping these down, you know, you can see from the outside to the inside with the wash on and then removed off a little bit. And then obviously down in here, you remove a lot more. So you can obviously play with those colours. And that's why, to be honest with you, when I'm doing any type of weathering, I try and do it start lighter because I know I can go darker. To come back from dark is very difficult. You can do it because you just put, you know, light oils on and bring them back that way. But in some ways, it's easier to go darker. So I always make my paintwork a little bit lighter anyway. So I've got a little bit of wiggle room with weathering. So
it's strange when you see the picture below that one where it shows. Keep going down for a little bit more. That's the actual colour in the jar, which is what you'd expect it to be. So I do think it's possibly because it's a thick coat being brush painted rather than being sprayed.
Yeah, again, like Matt says, it'll be interesting to know if you just are a hand painter or if you do airbrush, try a bit on an airbrush it and see what it looks like when it goes through an airbrush. And then if you know, not being funny, if you want it to make it slightly lighter, decant a little bit, add a little bit of white into there or a little bit of buff and just lighten it up a few shades and then try it again. So
looking at Paul's other builds, I think he is a brush painter. So
yeah, but again, this is one of those things. Sorry, it's like, you know, is it a bad batch and all the rest of it? Don't forget, they've obviously gone to a colour match of an aircraft. That aircraft could be anywhere in its life. It could have been a brand new one, or it could have been really old. It could have been that they've done it from a photo.
Here's the thing: do Gen 3s do a have glass? And that'll answer your question of because if they don't, which I can't remember if there is a have glass in that or not in the Gen 3 acrylics, there's a problem with it for brush painting.
Yeah.
But if not, if you are a brush painter, I would actually buy the Gen 3 one, because then obviously that is what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what's in the aircraft line, if there is a have glass in there or not, to be honest.
It's through now, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I must admit, I'm not up on those.
Because again, I don't know if Attacker do it in their red line, a have glass, or the blue line, and again, which is their brushable line. Because there's definitely one in the lacquer range. Again, I'm not sure on the blue line. I can't remember. Sorry, not the blue line, the red line, which is obviously their airbrush. There is
have glass, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well,
11882.
Right. Okay. That's blown my theory out of the water. Then. Wonder what that brush is like.
Yeah, maybe.
To me, it just looks a purpley grey colour.
Yeah.
It's
I think
because
it's one of those. Sorry, go on.
Even on the swatch, it does look a bit sort of like you say, got a bit of browny, purpley.
It's an odd colour. It's a real odd colour. What they've it's like our shirts. It reminds us of our these shirt colours, which in some lights look brown, and then in others can look like, I'm looking at yours, it's got like a purpley tinge to it. It's one of them odd colours, isn't it, Hourglass?
It is, and yeah, don't forget there is lots of versions of it. That's the other thing as well. You get, everyone generalises it as being have glass. Have glass is not just one thing. It was just a name given to a type of paint. But there's different versions of it. I know for a fact they want to have glass 5, and I think it's have glass 7 on the latest ones. And again, people sort of generalise on that colour because like Raptors are in something different. Including that chrome one that looks very nice these days. But again, it's one of those ones where they all go very odd. If you look at Hab glass as well on some F16s, when it ages, it turns to basically silver. And so it's going through a life cycle of its paint. But again, it's funny stuff because it's not just paint. Hab glass is a special coating. It's a special coating, I think, as far as we want to go with this. But yeah, so it's not just paint; it's something else, which we won't talk about.
Reflective properties.
Actually, it's the other way. It's absorbent properties. Very, very absorbent properties.
I suppose, yeah, because it's
yeah. So yeah,
it's an object, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, I think it is just generally one of those funny colours that people are dealing with and trying to nail down. And there's no right or wrong to this. You're into a situation where you might look at one reference photo of an F-35 and it might look just like it. You might look at another one; it's totally different. Maybe that's not what they were looking at. They weren't looking at F-35s when they did this. They may be looking at some other aircraft. So F-16s have been in it. Well, most aircraft I think have been tested in it at one point or another over time. But again, that particular colour is one of those really odd ones, because if you look at UK ones, they don't look like the US ones sometimes. Ours always look a little bit lighter, but different could be just say different weathering, different lighting, different cameras. It could be one of those very, very variable things, isn't it? So a tricky one, shall we say, to do. So,
you didn't answer Graham's original question right at the top.
Graham, we missed Graham off. Sorry. Do you know if Airfix are releasing 2 versions of the new 48 scale Buccaneer, as they did with the 72nd, the Royal Navy version, the RAF? Yes.
Even though we have no inside information,
even though we have no inside information whatsoever, yes, there will be 2 versions. I can tell you that with great confidence. So yes, you're definitely going to get a Navy one, I think, is first, and then as always, the one that everybody probably wants will be the one after it, which will be the RAF one. And if we had our way, they'd do a special one then as a desert one, but I don't think we'll see that.
No, that'll be in the thing.
Yeah, but I think that'll be just be in the RAF version. You'll get the deserty ones from Granby. Was it Granby, first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So, yes, but definitely you're going to get the different versions as 2 separate kits. Because, again, you've only got to look at the 72nds. It's the way they did that one, wasn't it? So they'll just follow suit in a bigger box.
That's where they do them all, isn't it?
Which we can hope we might see in the next couple of months, which would be nice. Very, very nice indeed. So yes. So the this today's show, oil paints, cheap, last you forever, isn't it? That's what you want. And what's your future?
Yeah, and your old future don't last.
Your old future's probably turned to that. I'm going to get a stick later and poke that to see if it's actually gone hard or if it's just really thick gel. I think it still squeezes, so I assume it's just gone to a huge gel.
So mine did sort of dribble down the side if you held it, but...
Well, that's not dribbling anywhere, is it? I think that's definitely stuck.
Yeah.
I think it's had its day, so never mind. But again, I think that's a very, very old bottle from the 90s. So anyway, if you need any, Andy's got a drawer full. He will sell you for £25 a bottle.
I think Ethan's got most of it, hasn't he?
Oh, is he?
Ethan's got the way he uses it still, doesn't he, all the times?
Yes. But you say the new one's just as nice. I think the new one's on a par with the old one. Although that's not the new one, is it? Now they do it in a brown label.
I've got no idea where they're at with it.
They've rebranded it every other
times.
week, I know. But yeah, the new bottle's in a brown label. It's brown
is
and
that
yellow.
The one you got from the States?
Yes. Yeah, this one came over from the States because we couldn't get it over here back in the day. But now ours is the same, but it's I think it's yellow in the middle and brown around the outside label. So.
I'm not even sure where mine are now. Are they? Oh, no. No, I've got... Oh, sorry. Hang on one second. What's that one? No. I've got a brown one somewhere, but I don't know where it is. No.
Do you ever use it? When was the last time you used future of any sort?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just have it
your own questions there, haven't you?
I have this one like a classic. This is vintage. Yeah. This will be a classic.
Yeah.
So yeah,
cool. Since GX 100, is it?
Yeah.
That's my go-to gloss coat nowadays, and just goes on easy and works well. So
yeah,
that's what I stick to. I find you need to thin it a lot.
Yes, a lot. Yeah, about 70% thinners.
70% thinners into it. Nice thin coat, and it goes down like glass. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Right. Okay then, guys. Shall we leave it there?
Yes.
Seems we've got over an hour.
Yes.
Says us saying, we do a 30-minute show.
Apologies for none of my neighbours being on electric cars at the moment.
Yes, clearly electric hasn't made it to Mansfield. By the sound of it, they're coal-powered.
Yeah.
They're all dirty diesel users.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Right, okay then guys, we will leave it right there. Don't forget there is no show tomorrow night live from us, but you have got Matt's day. So Matt's got a vlog up for you tomorrow, and he's got part 2 of his modern military figure painting, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
This will be prepping basically for the camouflage, which will be the following part.
Right.
So doing his shadows and highlights and
very good
things.
Cool. Good job.
So prepared to fall asleep.
Interesting.
It'll be fine. So anyway, that'll be up with you around about midday tomorrow. So if you want to catch up with that one, you can do, and then you can watch that. And I'll be back with you on Friday for the Friday Roundup show. And hopefully the last part of the actual voodoo will be up with you as well if I get it finished in time. So there we go. Remember, stay safe, stay out the heat. You get all your bits and pieces over at the pmmodelsuk.com store. So if you want to grab anything from there, you can do. Just pop over. Again, if you've got anything for pre-orders, things like that, give Andy a message and he'll put you in the right direction for these things as well. Right, that's it from us. Do you want to say goodbye, gentlemen? We're out of here. Happy modding. Take care.
Cheers, guys. Bye.